Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into the world of YouTube creators.
Ooh, fun.
Tackling a question we got, what does it take for middle-class creators to make it?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. We've got this great conversation between a podcast host and a content creator, Sana Okana.
Right.
Really gets into the nitty-gritty.
And it sounds like it is gritty.
It does.
I mean, right out of the gate, they hit us with that statistic. 95% of people who try to succeed on YouTube fail.
Exactly, 95%. So we're diving into why those odds exist, especially for middle-class creators.
Wow.
We'll unpack the hurdles they face, but also this is where it gets interesting how those hurdles might actually be hidden advantages.
Okay, I'm intrigued already. Everyone loves a good underdog story,
Right,
but 95% failure rate. We need to understand this.
right. So let's unpack some of the challenges they highlighted.
Yeah.
We're talking about things like lack of resources, equipment, software, even just time.
Right.
There's also the pressure, both societal and familial, to pursue more traditional careers. And then there's the internal battle, self-doubt, and the mental and emotional toll this journey takes.
It's interesting they pointed out that pressure from family.
Yeah.
You don't usually think of that as a barrier to becoming a YouTuber.
Yeah. Sana brought up a really insightful point about that.
Yeah.
Middle-class families often push for stability and security.
Yeah.
The parents worked hard to reach a certain level, so it's natural they want their kids to have that safe path.
Right.
But in a creative field like YouTube, that safety net can feel like an anchor.
So it's not just the practical limitations, but also the expectations and mindset that come with being middle class.
Exactly.
Right.
And then on top of that, you've got the financial limitations.
Yeah.
If you're coming from a background where every penny counts, taking a risk on a YouTube career with no guarantee of income is a huge leap.
I see what you mean about that anchor analogy. It's
Yeah.
like you're trying to launch this creative spaceship,
Yeah.
but tethered to the ground.
Yeah.
But how do they turn this around into an advantage?
Well, they argue that this combination of financial and social pressure forces middle-class creators to be scrappy.
Oh, well.
They have to get creative use, limited resources effectively, and really hustle.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Exactly. They gave the example of early YouTubers, many of whom started with just basic equipment and 0 subscribers.
Oh, wow.
Their limitations forced them to innovate and find clever solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And that, they argued, is a key part of what makes them successful.
So that scrappiness becomes a defining characteristic.
Yeah.
It's not just about the content.
Right.
It's about the hustle behind it.
Right. And they pointed out that this kind of resourcefulness actually builds resilience.
Okay.
They argued that when you're constantly overcoming obstacles, you develop a grit that creators from more privileged backgrounds might not have.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You're not just building a channel, you're building a mindset.
And that mindset, they argued, is essential for long-term success on YouTube. Because, let's face it, YouTube is a marathon, not a sprint.
Absolutely. And speaking of the long game, I'm curious to hear what advice they offered for aspiring creators who are just starting out.
Well, Sana's first piece of advice was simple but powerful. Start with what you have.
Okay.
Don't wait for the perfect camera lighting or editing software.
Yeah.
Use your phone. Get creative with your surroundings and focus on creating compelling content that resonates with your audience.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the technical aspects and lose sight of the core, the content itself.
Right. It's about telling your story, sharing your passion, and connecting with people who are interested in what you have to say. And Sana emphasized that this is where finding your niche comes in.
Niche. For those who aren't familiar with YouTube lingo, can you explain what that means?
Of course. Your niche is basically your specific area of focus, the audience you're trying to reach.
Right.
It could be anything from gaming to cooking to personal finance.
Mm-hmm.
The key is to find something you're passionate about and that there's an audience for.
So rather than trying to appeal to everyone,
Right.
you're laser focused on a specific group who really connect with your content. Makes sense.
And that ties into Sana's second piece of advice. Don't get discouraged by slow growth.
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is.
Yeah.
Building a loyal audience takes time.
Definitely.
Focus on consistency, keep creating content that you're proud of, and the audience will follow.
I feel like that applies to any creative pursuit, really.
Yeah.
It's about the long game building momentum over time.
Yeah.
But that's where self-doubt can creep in, right?
Exactly. And that's why Sana stressed the importance of surrounding yourself with a supportive community.
Oh, that's so important.
Find other creators who are on a similar journey, share your struggles and successes, and lift each other up.
Especially when that 95% failure rate is looming overhead.
Right.
A community can really make or break you.
It's about finding your tribe, whether it's online or offline, people who understand the unique challenges of being a creator.
Yeah.
And they can celebrate the small wins along the way, too, which is so important.
Small wins. Absolutely.
Hey.
Speaking of celebrating, it seems like we're ready to move on to some of the more positive aspects of this discussion. I understand they had some really insightful advice about turning those challenges into opportunities. Shall we dive into that?
Let's do it.
Okay. So let's talk about turning those challenges into opportunities. That's a concept I think a lot of creators, actually anyone with a dream, could benefit from.
Absolutely. They really dove into the mindset shift that's needed.
Oh.
Remember how we talked about middle-class creators being resourceful due to limitations?
Yeah.
Well, they argued that this resourcefulness can actually be a secret weapon on YouTube.
What's fascinating here is how they connected that resourcefulness to the YouTube algorithm itself.
Right. See, the algorithm rewards creators who can consistently produce high-quality content.
Great.
And middle-class creators, because they've had to learn to do more with less, are often incredibly efficient and creative in their production process.
So it's almost like they've been unknowingly training for YouTube success this whole time. They've had to master skills like budgeting, time management, and problem solving,
Right.
which are all essential for navigating the platform's demands.
They even gave the example of using your phone's camera to shoot videos.
Oh, yeah.
It might not be the fanciest equipment,
Right.
but it forces you to focus on things like storytelling, lighting, and composition skills that ultimately make a bigger difference than having a top-of-the-line camera.
That's a great example of how limitations can breed ingenuity.
Yeah.
It's not about the gear. It's about the vision and the ability to execute it effectively.
Exactly. And that ties into another advantage they highlighted: authenticity.
Okay.
Because middle-class creators often start with smaller audiences.
Yeah.
They're able to build genuine connections and engage with their viewers on a more personal level.
I can see how that would foster a sense of community and loyalty. People are drawn to authenticity,
Yeah,
especially online, where it can be hard to find.
right. It's about building trust and relationships, which are essential for long-term growth on YouTube. And they argued that this focus on authentic connection often leads to higher viewer engagement and watch time.
Which, for our listeners who might not be YouTube experts, is a key factor in how the algorithm decides what content to promote.
Right.
More watch time equals more visibility.
Right. You got it. So by focusing on building genuine connections and creating content that truly resonates with their niche, middle-class creators can actually gain an advantage over creators who might have more resources but less authentic engagement.
So it flips the script on its head.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing resource limitations as a disadvantage, it becomes a path to standing out from the crowd.
And that's really the core message they wanted to convey. It's not about where you come from. It's about your mindset and your willingness to embrace those challenges and turn them into opportunities.
So in a way, middle-class creators might be better equipped to handle the pressures and uncertainties of the YouTube landscape.
Exactly. And they gave some specific advice on how to do that. Sana really emphasized the importance of remembering your why, your purpose for starting this journey in the first place.
Having a clear sense of purpose can be so grounding,
Yeah.
especially when you're facing setbacks or feeling discouraged.
Absolutely. They talked about how your why will fuel your persistence
Right.
and help you stay focused on the long-term vision.
Okay.
It's what will get you through those late nights editing videos and those moments when you question whether it's all worth it.
It's like an internal compass,
Yeah.
guiding you through the ups and downs of the creative process.
I love that analogy. And Amira, the podcast host, added a really interesting perspective on this. He talked about the importance of viewing every mistake and criticism as an opportunity to learn and improve.
That's a healthy way to approach the inevitable stumbles that come with any creative journey.
Right. Instead of getting defensive or letting negativity derail you, he suggested using those experiences as fuel to refine your craft.
It's all about turning those perceived negatives into positives, extracting valuable lessons from every experience.
Exactly. And that ties into Sana's advice about the importance of collaboration.
Okay.
They suggested reaching out to other creators, asking for feedback, and learning from each other's experiences.
That community aspect again.
Yeah.
It seems like that's a recurring theme in their advice.
It's so crucial, whether you're getting feedback on a video, brainstorming ideas, or just needing a pep talk.
Right.
Having a supportive network can make all the difference.
So it's not just about competition.
Right.
It's about finding a community that can support and uplift you along the way.
They really hammered that point home. They even mentioned how many successful YouTubers started out by collaborating with others.
Oh, wow.
leveraging each other's strengths and audiences to grow together.
It's about creating a win-win situation where everyone benefits from shared knowledge and support.
Exactly. And I think that's a really powerful message, especially in a field that can feel so competitive.
It reminds us that collaboration can be a powerful catalyst for growth and innovation.
And speaking of innovation, they brought up a really intriguing idea that I think deserves further exploration.
Oh, I'm all ears. What's this intriguing idea?
Well, they talked about how facing difficulties can actually be a hidden advantage.
We touched on that earlier.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling there's more to unpack here.
You're right. They went deeper, suggesting that if struggles can be beneficial,
Okay.
maybe actively seeking out challenges in your creative process could lead to even faster growth on YouTube.
Hold on. Intentionally seeking out challenges.
Yeah.
That sounds counterintuitive. Wouldn't that just make things harder?
It might seem that way at first, but think about it this way. When you're constantly pushing your boundaries and experimenting with new things, you're bound to learn and evolve at a much quicker pace.
So it's about embracing discomfort as a catalyst for growth.
Exactly. It's like a difference between staying in your comfort zone and actively seeking out experiences that force you to stretch and adapt.
Okay, I'm starting to see the logic here.
Yeah.
But what would that look like in practice for a YouTube creator?
Well, it could take many forms.
Okay.
For example, it could mean trying a new video format that you're not comfortable with, collaborating with creators outside your niche, or tackling a topic that you're not an expert in.
So basically anything that pushes you outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
And forces you to learn new skills and adapt to new situations.
Right. It's about embracing the unknown and using it as fuel for growth. And who knows, maybe by pushing yourself in this way, you'll stumble upon a hidden talent or a new passion you never knew you had.
That's the beauty of experimentation, right?
Yeah.
You never know what you might discover.
They also highlighted the mental toughness that comes from actively seeking out challenges.
Yeah.
When you're constantly putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, you build resilience that can help you weather any storm.
Resilience is crucial for anyone in a creative field,
Right.
especially on a platform like YouTube, where rejection and criticism are inevitable.
Absolutely. And the more you practice facing your fears and overcoming obstacles, the easier it becomes to handle the inevitable setbacks that come with the territory.
But this raises an important question. How do you strike a balance between pushing yourself and overwhelming yourself?
That's a great point. It's important to be mindful of your limits and not bite off more than you can chew.
Right.
Start small with challenges that feel slightly outside of your comfort zone and gradually work your way up to bigger ones.
And it's probably a good idea to have a support system in place.
Definitely.
People you can turn to for guidance and encouragement when those challenges start to feel overwhelming.
Definitely. Having a community of like-minded individuals can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Whether it's online or offline, surrounding yourself with people who understand your journey and can offer support and advice is invaluable.
So it sounds like this idea of actively seeking out challenges is really about embracing a growth mindset,
Yeah.
being willing to learn and adapt
Right.
and constantly push your boundaries.
Exactly. It's about seeing challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth and self-discovery.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe by embracing this philosophy, we can all achieve more than we ever thought possible.
This has been such an insightful deep dive so far.
Yeah.
I'm already feeling inspired to shake things up and embrace a little more productive discomfort in my own life.
Me too. And you know what? We're not done yet.
Really.
There's still one more fascinating point from this conversation that I want to unpack.
Oh, now you've really got me intrigued. What else did they discuss?
Well, toward the end of the conversation, Sana brought up a really profound idea.
Okay.
She talked about how our journeys as creators can actually inspire others, even if we don't realize it.
That's a beautiful thought. It's like a ripple effect,
Yeah,
where our actions and our stories can have a positive impact on people we may never even meet.
exactly. And I think that's something that's easy to forget when we're caught up in our own struggles and aspirations.
Well-
It's a reminder that we're all connected and that our experiences can serve as a source of inspiration and encouragement for others.
So even if we don't achieve massive fame and fortune on YouTube,
Right.
our journey itself can still have value and meaning.
Absolutely. Every time we share our story, every time we overcome a challenge,
Yeah.
every time we put our heart and soul into our creations, we're sending a message of hope and possibility to the world.
It's like we're all part of a larger tapestry.
Ooh, I like that.
each thread contributing to the overall beauty and complexity of the design.
I love that analogy. It really captures the interconnectedness of our experiences.
And it reminds us that even the smallest actions can have a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation. I feel like we barely scratched the surface of all the insights and wisdom that Sana and Amir shared.
Me too. It's amazing how much we can learn from just one conversation when we really take the time to dive deep.
Well, speaking of diving deep, there's one more thing I want to touch on before we wrap up.
Okay, I'm all ears. What else is there to explore?
They mentioned something that really resonated with me, the importance of remembering your why when things get tough.
Oh, yeah.
Amir really emphasized this point.
That's so crucial, isn't it?
It is.
Having a strong sense of purpose can be such a powerful motivator,
Yeah,
especially when faced with obstacles.
absolutely. When you know why you're doing something, when you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve,
Right.
it's much easier to stay focused and persevere through the inevitable
It's
challenges.
like having a compass that guides you through the storms and keeps you on course, even when the path ahead seems uncertain.
Exactly. And I think that's especially important for creators who are trying to build something from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be moments of doubt, moments of frustration, moments when you want to give up.
Those moments when the algorithm feels like a brick wall
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the comment section is full of negativity.
Exactly. But if you can tap into your why, if you can reconnect with that burning desire that sparked your journey in the first place, you'll find the strength to keep going.
So how do you recommend people tap into their why?
Yeah.
Is it something you actively cultivate, or does it just emerge naturally?
I think it's a bit of both.
Okay.
Sometimes your why is crystal clear from the start.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you want to achieve and why it matters to you.
Like a driving passion that propels you forward.
Exactly. But for others, it might take some time and reflection to uncover their true purpose.
Mm.
It might involve asking yourself some tough questions, exploring your values, and figuring out what truly lights you up.
It's almost like an ongoing process of self-discovery.
I think you're right. And the beauty is that your why can evolve over time as you grow and change.
So it's not about finding the one perfect why that will last forever.
Right.
It's about being open to the journey and allowing your purpose to unfold naturally.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to remember that your why doesn't have to be grandiose or world-changing.
Right.
It can be something simple, something personal, something that brings you joy and fulfillment.
So it could be anything from wanting to share your knowledge with the world to simply wanting to express your creativity and connect with others who share your passions.
Exactly. The important thing is that it's authentic to you and that it gives you a sense of purpose.
I love that. It's a reminder that our why is ultimately our own
Yeah.
and that we have the power to define it for ourselves.
And I think that's a really empowering message to leave with our listeners.
Absolutely. A
But-
call to action to take ownership of our journeys and embrace the power of our own unique purpose.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought.
I think I'm ready for it.
If remembering your why is so crucial for staying motivated and overcoming challenges, what if we took it a step further and actively cultivated our why on a daily basis?
Intriguing. How would you suggest we do that?
Well, it could be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to reflect on your purpose.
Okay.
Write down your why in a journal, visualize yourself achieving your goals,
Hmm.
or create a vision board that represents your aspirations.
So basically anything that helps you stay connected to your purpose
Right.
and keeps it at the forefront of your mind.
Exactly. And I think by doing this, we can not only fuel our own motivation, but also inspire those around us.
This has been such an inspiring and thought-provoking deep dive.
It has.
I'm walking away with a renewed sense of purpose and a toolbox full of strategies for embracing challenges and cultivating my why.
Me too. And I hope our listeners feel the same way. Remember, your journey matters, your story has the power to inspire, and the world needs your unique voice.
Beautifully said. I can't wait to see what our listeners create and achieve as they embark on their own journeys of self-discovery and creative expression.
It's like we're creating this positive feedback loop.
Exactly. The more we focus on our why, the more motivated we become,
And the more motivated we become, the more likely we are to push through those challenges and actually achieve our goals.
which in turn reinforces our why and makes it even stronger. It's a beautiful cycle.
It really is. And it all starts with that simple but powerful act of remembering why we started this journey in the first place.
So much of success on YouTube or in any field comes down to mindset, doesn't it? It's about cultivating that belief in yourself and your vision.
Absolutely. And that belief becomes even stronger when you have a clear purpose driving you forward.
It's like the difference between wandering aimlessly and having a destination in mind.
I like that analogy. When you have that destination, that why guiding you, it's easier to stay on track even when the path gets bumpy.
And let's be real, the path to YouTube success is rarely smooth. It's full of twists and turns, unexpected detours, and the occasional roadblock.
But those bumps in the road are also where the growth happens, right? It's where we learn and adapt and become more resilient.
It's like those strength training workouts, the ones that make you sore, but ultimately make you stronger.
Exactly. And just like in those workouts, you need to have a good recovery plan in place. You need to know how to take care of yourself mentally and emotionally when things get tough.
That's where that supportive community we talked about comes in. It's about having people who understand your journey and can offer encouragement when you need it most.
And it's also about celebrating those small wins along the way. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture, the subscriber count, the views, the monetization. But it's important to acknowledge and appreciate each step forward.
Those small wins are what fuel the momentum and keep you moving forward, even when the big goal seems far off.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge.
Okay, I love a good challenge. Lay it on me.
I challenge you to take some time today to really connect with your why. Write it down, visualize it, talk about it with someone you trust.
And most importantly, let it guide your actions and inspire you to create something amazing.
Because the world is waiting to see what you're capable of.
This has been such a rewarding exploration of the challenges and opportunities facing middle-class creators on YouTube. It's amazing how much we were able to unpack from just one conversation.
It really highlights the power of deep listening and thoughtful analysis, doesn't it? We've gained valuable insights not only about YouTube, but also about the creative process in general.
And about the resilience and resourcefulness that often come with navigating life's challenges.
So to our listeners out there who are dreaming of making it on YouTube or pursuing any creative passion, remember this: your journey matters. Your story has the power to inspire, and the world needs your unique voice.
Keep creating, keep learning, keep pushing your boundaries, and never forget the power of your why.
Until next time, happy creating.